Welcome to a Father's Flame podcast. Today, I want to introduce Kamron Engler. He is an entrepreneur, speaker, trailblazer, real estate agent, sales and marketing expert. He owns and operates Engler Enterprise, a conglomerate of multi-seven-figure businesses. He helps salespeople and businesses scale with his sales and marketing training, as well as manages a real estate team out of Georgia with his wife, Hannah. Well, welcome today to Father's Flame, Kamron.
Hey, thanks for having me. I like that intro, man. That was
Hey,
good.
dude. Yeah. So, entrepreneur, looks like you got your hands in quite a few things. So, how old are you, by the way, Kamron? You look
I'm 20. I think I turned 25. I don't even keep up with my old age, man. 98 is when that's my birthday. So,
wow, man, you are young and you're really moving and grooving here. So, why don't you give us a little background on who you are and what kind of where you came from?
yeah. So I grew up in a very small town. Like if you Google it, it has like population of 1,800 people, right? Like it's tiny. And there's not a whole lot of opportunity in that area. It's pretty much either become a teacher, go work in law enforcement, or you're a construction worker, or the chicken plant. Like that's pretty much it. Um, and I grew up there. My parents, I watched them struggle growing up, and I was sold this belief that in order to get out of that situation, in order to actually, just be able to provide, you got to go to college, get a degree. And, we didn't have money. So I jumped into football as like, that was my ticket out, focused on that. And, then one thing led to another. It ended up not working out. And, I decided I needed to jump into something that made a little more money. So then I got into real estate.
Wow, how young were you when you were getting into real estate?
19 is whenever I decided. So, yeah.
How did you even think of that? Like, did you see somebody that's like, did you know somebody doing that?
No, man, dude, I did not even think of being a real estate agent. Like, no, I don't think a lot of people wake up one day and say, I want to open doors and like turn on light switches, right?
I want to be busy all weekend or whenever
Yeah.
my clients call me all night.
Yeah. So I never really, I mean, being even a business person growing up, like that wasn't something that was like, that was for the other people. Like that was for the people that could go and their whole family went to college. Like you're going to be blue collar worker. Like you're not a white collar person. So I never even thought that way. And then, after I dropped out of college, after about 6 months, I came back. My dad was working construction and I was working with him. But, there just wasn't a whole lot of room for me. He was kind of just doing me a favor, giving me an opportunity just because he was my dad, And I was making like $230 a week, just the labor guy. And I remember asking my dad, at the time, he had been in it for like 15 years. And I asked him, I was like, hey, like I got to provide for my family because I've had a son at this point. I had my son whenever I was 16. And, he just straight up told me, he said, I've been in this business for like 15 years and I only make $1,500, $2,000 a week on a good week. You're never going to come close to that until you've been in the business 15 years. And I was like, yo, I got to get out of here. I got to figure something out. So I went to Google and I literally typed highest paying careers without a college degree. And real estate, insurance, and finance was like the top three. So,
wow. So were you down south? Cause you said chicken farm and that's where I know a lot of chicken farms are.
Yeah, I'm actually in Georgia.
Okay. And that's where you grew up too then.
Yep. A small town in North Georgia. Yep.
Okay. So you basically Google, hey, these are good paying jobs, and yeah, that's pretty much what you're gonna find, besides maybe like software engineer or something.
Yeah.
Uh, and then what? You just had that drive. I mean, you're already a dad at this point, so we kind of glazed over that part.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just like jumped in because I didn't really have, it was either I figure something else out or like the lights aren't being kept on. Like you're
Sure.
talking about already on food stamps, like tax return time. That is the biggest money I've ever seen, you know, uh,
Wow.
and just scraping by paycheck to paycheck, barely having enough to keep the lights on. So for me, there wasn't really a second that I thought about it. I was like, I can make 50,000. That's the average a real estate agent makes. Let me jump in. You know,
Yeah, that's awesome.
so
So you've been doing that for a few years.
yeah, yeah. This is year 5. Year
Okay.
5.
So definitely you seem like a trailblazer, but it looks like you're managing like a marketing company and sales.
Yeah. So, um, you know, that's one of the things that I love about real estate. It kind of opens the doors to other avenues once you get rolling. Um, and I've kind of always, been interested in marketing
Hmm.
and had to learn sales whenever I first got started because my dad was a contractor guy. Like we didn't talk about sales. It was you got to pick up a damn hammer and put your tool belt
Yeah.
on. And so I didn't know what I was doing. Like because in school I was the quiet guy. I was the football player. I was told stay away from people, keep to yourself. And so I didn't even really have much social interaction even throughout school getting into a sales job. So um, learned sales, studied it like day in, day out for like the first 3 years. And I still study it today. And then, being someone that doesn't come from, a business, uh, like family, like entrepreneurship didn't really
Yeah.
get talked about. And so the first things I started trying to learn was how can I get business without me knowing anything about business. And then you start
Hmm.
learning a couple things about marketing and how to position yourself, how to actually get you across to other people. And that's something that I'm trying to help other people do now too. So
Man, that's interesting. So this first real estate company that you maybe went to work for, right? Because nobody starts with a brokerage. So were they pretty a big part of training you in that sales, or did someone like take you under their wing, or was this all internal? Like I got to go get the training myself. Plus, the
yeah,
company provides some.
yeah. So I mean, the company, and I'm still with them. I just created kind of like a sub team
Yeah.
within that company. But I mean, pretty much in real estate, that they're going to be like, and this varies depending on where you go. But at the end of the day, I like to tell people if you're thinking about real estate, it is a lead generation business. It's not a selling homes business. And whenever I got in, they were literally like, here's a desk, here's a phone. We'll be collecting that check for your desk fee next month. See ya.
Oh, get to work.
Yeah, get to work. And like if you don't produce, if you can't pay that desk fee, eventually you just gotta. That's why you see all these people hop in brokerages because they're not developing themselves to where they can actually get new business. You
Hmm.
know, so it was all internal for me. I just
Hmm.
like I studied the entire year that it took me to get my license. I was studying sales before I
Hmm.
even got in, before I even got my license.
Interesting. So, do you think being a dad like kind of helped you like have a little more like responsibility on your shoulders, so like it motivated you just a hair more being a young
Oh,
dad?
oh yeah, yeah, man. I mean, dude, my, you know, that period of time whenever I had my son is a little crazy. Like, um, we didn't come from money, right? I watched my parents. They were always talking about getting money. You know, hey, we got to go out here and hustle up some money. So like I knew, there was a hustle, and
Hmm.
you had to have some drive and everything. Um, but they never really kept money. So even like if they made money, nobody in my family ever kept it, and it just wasn't something that really talked about. And they were always working, right? But I knew you had to work hard. You had to get up and work. And
Hmm.
in that time frame, so I meet the love of my life. I'm married to her now. But
Awesome.
after 3 years, my parents, they were kind of dealing with their own issues. They were a lot of people don't know this, haven't really talked about it a whole lot on podcasts, but my parents were, involved in the drug like distribution. Like they were just
Oh
doing
wow.
anything they could to
Hmm.
get ahead. And I think that I don't think people turn to that. I mean, in my experience, it's not like someone wakes up one day and says, "I want to sell drugs."
Sure.
But I think life just got so unbearable for them. Just the repetitive cycle of we make money, it goes out the window. Like there's no point. I got to get ahead somehow. And that's what they turn to. So that's going on. At 16, I figure out I'm going to be a dad. And I remember I told my dad, and he was like, "Well, you better get ready because because my dad had me early too." So
Interesting.
I kind of repeated the cycle. But
Yeah.
so I had my son, and then a couple weeks later, because of what my parents were involved in, uh, I get put into foster care like immediately. And thankfully, whenever I got put into foster care, I got placed with a guy who was a retired lawyer, and it kind of, I mean, I knew money was out there.
Hmm.
I knew I wanted money. I knew that I wanted to inspire a lot of people. I've always had that hunger, but I seen that it was real, right? And then I had my son. 2 years later, get out of foster care. My dad got us back. He turned his life around, and I think that what kind of sparks something in me is like I've seen what happens if you don't push.
Hmm.
Like I think that's people's why a lot of people kind of struggle is they just get beat up, and if you get beat up over and over and over again, like so you either going to push and fight back or
Hmm.
turn to something else. And I think
Yeah.
that's where a lot of people's problems come from. So
Yeah, I think the fight, and because everyone's going to deal with struggles and all kinds of ups and downs in life, right? Like
yeah,
everyone deals with that because that's just the way life is. That's the way relationships are, and we're all born in families that are none of them are perfect, but it's kind of what you do in that struggle, right? Some of those seem like they just knock you down, but it's about getting back up, right? And
yeah,
and learning from it. I like that what you're saying. Like you kind of saw like a guy, the lawyer, I'm guessing, right, that you lived with. Like he must have been somewhat well to do, right? That's a pretty good job.
yeah. He was pretty well off. Yeah,
Those guys, yeah, dude. Mine that they make pretty good hourly rate, but then you're saying you also saw your dad, but no, I think all those things, like even like some of my mentors say, like sometimes your mess could become your message, right?
yeah,
Um, and sometimes people relate to you more too. It's like, oh man, if Kamron went through foster care, if Kamron had a son at a younger age, like none of those disqualify you from anything, right?
Yep.
They just help build the story, and it's like, what do you do with your story, right? And it's all about, that's the sweet side that some people do. We've seen people like they do turn to drugs, they turn to alcohol, they turn to all these things for fulfillment and
Yeah.
satisfaction when they get beat up, right? And
Try to escape.
they try to escape, and those things never serve you well, like as much as we think, or even video games and and all these different things, like we think, oh, that'll get me, to where I need to be mentally, and they never serve you well. But finding that energy, I feel like work is one of those things that a man needs to find like a drive towards and a passion, whether it's like, dude, I need to provide for my kids, or if it's just like,
Yeah.
I want to provide for my future, or like, hey, I just want, to live and be able to have things, right? That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like there's a internal motivation that most men, like, we need that. So, well, that's interesting that, yeah, you have a vast of experiences. And so
Yeah, it's been crazy so far, man.
I just love that you're like smiling and you just kind of, you laugh about it, and it's not, I feel like sometimes when you can deal with your past and just like openly talk about it, it's like, dude, it doesn't beat you up anymore if you could just kind of put it out there too. And it's like, you got
Yeah.
to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't let I did in the beginning. I used to be like, oh my God, I used to really struggle with this whenever I was younger, especially like around 18, 19. Just thinking about, especially whenever you start trying to meet people in business, people
Interesting.
kind of look down on you like, you're not a real business person. Oh yeah. Oh, you got tattooed. Oh, you're one of those. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I've come to realize, like, it doesn't matter how messed up you think your life is. Like, it's like you were saying earlier, there's so many people that would love just to see someone else that went through the same thing, because in their world, like, there is nobody else. And you can feel alone. I remember whenever I was 16 and figure out, okay, my parents are on drugs, they're selling drugs. I just found out I'm having a baby, and now I'm in foster care. I literally felt like there was no one that could understand what I'm going through. And I think that's something we just got to do with our stories. Our stories got to be told,
No, that's good. It's interesting that you didn't like copy your dad's path, right? There's something in you that like chose, I don't know, there's some wisdom that you kind of had that made you like choose, a different path, which I think that's really says a lot about you. I was going to bring up a point about, like, what do you think entrepreneurship, like, because you're mentioning like, hey, people might not think you're a real business guy. You got tattoos, you got this and that, but don't you think that like entrepreneurship and business, like, it's kind of an equal playing field in the sense that it is more based on like who you are and what you can do, right? Like businesses, and anyone can change and acquire those skills, right? And it, like, there's opportunity there, because it sounds like the place you're at now is, maybe, did you think you were going to be there 7 years ago?
7 years ago, man, I just needed a check to pay the bills, man.
Sure.
So no, I did not have some master plan to open up all these avenues and try to, create businesses out of them. But yeah, I think I do think that skills is the one thing that you can use to separate yourself. And there's a lot of business, quote unquote, business people that I think look down or and they're not even the real successful people. Like a true successful person, that's what you got to do. You got to look at, okay, this person is like Like a true successful person is never going to come at you like that. But there's a lot of people in business, a lot of I heard Bradley say this, entrepreneurs, you know, full of shit.
That's funny.
But, you know, and they think they, you know, are like, oh, I'm going to, you know, try to bring this guy down because I don't jive with this and that. And I think there's beauty in that. Like, I don't want everybody to jive with me, but if you do, let's go, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, that's like part of being around people that, you know, there's in life, like some people like either suck you down or they like, I feel like there's few that are like, they inspire and push you up, you know, and it's tough being around people that tear you down. And it's like, why would you do business and continue to, whether it's clients or partners or whatever it is, like, why would you even waste time with that? Because there's only so much time, dude, in the day and in a year. Almost, why do it with people that I don't mind like helping people. I use the word ministering too. Like, I don't mind encouraging you. I just don't want to like link arms with you and like go tackle a hard project and go buy some businesses with you, because we just don't.
We just don't. We don't jive, man.
Yeah, like there's got to be in those difficult times, like we got to be able to navigate together, not fight each other. I don't want to, you know what I mean? And I think that's more just a maturity thing. Like, you know, that's just where they're at. And maybe some people older than me never kind of get out of it. But, you know, it's not about fighting people, dude. It's about you walk in your assignment, Kamron, I'll walk in mine. And then, you know, synergize, dude. If I can help
let's
you,
see if we
let
can
me
bring
help
this
you
together.
Yeah, exactly. And that mindset, I don't know. To me, that's like just that golden mindset to help people, which we kind of talked beforehand, that it's kind of both our goals is just we're out here trying to serve other people. And, you know, so anyways, so what happened? So you did real estate. Okay. And you still do it to this day. So now what's going on with this conglomerate of multi 7-figure businesses? And tell me more about this. Like, I don't know. I'm picturing like a tree that's branched. Like you got other branches going on here in this.
Man, the branches are growing, man. There probably is going to be a lot more. We'll probably have to cut some, you know.
Yeah.
But so right now we have a marketing branch where, like, if you're a small business owner and you're not really sure what to do, mostly on the personal brand side, you know, because some people, everybody's posting content, but are you communicating what you want to communicate to people correctly? Sure. So we help with that. The one that I'm most excited about, though, is a coaching branch. And right now we're open to helping all business owners, but because I come from real estate, really wanting to, you know, I can speak the language, help real estate agents, loan officers scale, because there's only, and it's kind of the same statistic, but almost 90% of real estate agents fail within the first like couple of years of business. And over 50% of deals done are from people that they are related to. So that means 50% of people are just relying on their mom and dad to pay their bills. So there's like a huge disconnect, man. So we're trying to help people. That's the next big thing. So
interesting. So that was basically real estate agents are like, they never learn the skill of like what you're saying, maybe way earlier, that lead generation.
Yeah.
They can talk their family into it, but not necessarily beyond.
And I think that there's a major thing going on right now, like two polar, like you're either like a message, right? Two polar extremes. You're either a hardcore relationships only person that doesn't sell anyone. You're just like talking to people, and if they want to do business with you, cool, but you're not forcing them. So that message is out there. And then there's the hardcore, your job is to sell everyone. And I think both are a lie, that salespeople are sold. our job is not to, I believe our job is to not sell everyone, but sell people that if you believe that, and you know that you can actually help that person and it's in their best interest, why would you not try to help them? Why would you not do everything possible to try and help them out? But you also don't sell people that don't want to be sold. Like if they're like, I'm not interested, cool, next. But there's like, that message is not out there right now. And I think it really just got me whenever I first started. It was very discouraging because a guy that doesn't come from money, doesn't know anything about business, he gets in because it's his last shot. You got most people telling him, oh, just relationships only, just roll with it. Detach yourself from the outcome, from the money. Money will come, man. And I got bills to pay on Monday. So, and then you got the other one where people are being sold that your job is to sell and manipulate and try to convince everybody to use your product. That it doesn't work. So
you're basically, you need both of them though, right? You're saying you find some middle ground where like it's almost, is this how you teach like new agents too? Like or so what does that kind of look like then, I guess? If you're not selling everyone, and you're relational, so you're trying to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I mean, so like I tell people 70% of sales is listening.
That's good.
70% of sales is listening. I actually just posted a video on YouTube. It's a 15-minute video of me on a sales call, cold call, right? I think I speak for about 45 seconds out of 15 minutes. And they just talk. I listen. I'm intently listening to try and see if can I actually help this person? Is there an actual need for me to solve this person's problem? Can I actually do it? And if you can't, it is unethical to try to close that person and sell them. And people, I think salespeople, especially real estate agents, they try to sell everyone because number one, their pipeline is too small. So they're attached to, I got to close this deal today. But only 3% of people are going to buy right now. That's like a marketing rule. Only 3% of your audience is ready to go right now. Mm-hmm. And if only 3%, that means 97% either, if they're not interested at all, next, don't waste your time on it. Work with people, because time is money, right? Work with people that you can help today, that are ready. And if they're not, move on, keep them in the funnel, and just keep nurturing. So
yeah, no, I like that. I like that you're saying you keep them in the funnel because they might be part of the 3% next year, right? Yeah. Don't lose that relationship. Interesting. So I'm kind of thinking of like the current real estate market. This is April 2023, right? Like interest rates are like crazy high. What are you seeing in this market? Like it has slowed down, right?
Yeah. So what you're
still money
seeing,
to be made? That's my question.
Dude, there's a freaking gold mine right now. There's a gold mine. It's like, wow, man, you can become a whale. But it is, I'll say this, the real estate agents that learn and develop themselves right now have the biggest opportunity that I think since 2008 has come up. In 2000, a lot of the agents that are in the business that have been in it 20, 15 years, they went through 2008. The biggest ones that you see right now, the top producers in your local area, they got big in 2008, 2012, 13, because a lot of agents pulled out of the market. All the agents that were relying on mom and dad don't want to sell no more because the interest rate's too high. Why would they sell? Mm-hmm. So those people are getting out. Now the only way to generate business is if you actually have skills. And so the people that develop themselves right now, dude, you can take up some space right now, man. But I think what we're going to see happen now, everybody that bought over COVID got a 2.5% interest rate, 3%.
Yeah.
I don't think those people are going to sell, like, ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And so you're going to see like less and less housing pop up. It's going to eventually drive the prices more. But all the people that purchase for 2.5 and 3, I think those are going to end up becoming landlords, even if they had zero intention. They're just going to have to, because what are they going to do? Trade the house for a 7% interest rate and get half the house for the same payment, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I see going on right now.
No, I like that, because I think that thought process as an entrepreneur, which is like, okay, dude, this is a big change is happening and it looks bad, right? And I love that you're saying like, no, this is the time you like dig in and you like, dude, get those skills, because all the like people that are not, I don't know, what do you call it? Not half-hearted, but they're just loosey goosey. They, everyone's a real estate agent, 3 years ago,
Yeah.
but all the people that aren't really committed just die off, dude. And it's like, that's when you get a mature, you take some market share,
Yeah, man.
and get ready for whatever the boom is. But so anyways, I like that you got to be creative and almost like push in, get the skills, or even invest in some ways during the dips, right? And you see that in investing, and everyone's freaked out, but the people with money, the people with education of that industry, they're like, oh no, dude, this is like, they're rubbing their hands.
Yes,
like,
I'm praying for this. I've been praying for it. Yeah.
This is when we make even more money. This is when we buy more, So
Heck yeah.
do you do any real estate investing, or do you pretty much just listing houses and just kind of, I don't know if that's what that is called, retail versus investing with real estate?
Yeah. So that is the next phase. That is like the end phase. That is where I want to go. Right now, though, to do the deals that I want to do, they're big deals.
That's good.
So you gotta have some major cash. And I've pretty much been taking everything in my business, paying myself, and then reinvesting right back in. How can we blow this up? How can I build my personal brand to where I no longer have to work in the business and die an old salesman, 10 years from now. And that's another thing we focus on, not dying an old salesman. But I actually did invest. My first investment, I came across a tax sale. It was a tax deed property. I got an entire house for $2,500.
Whoa.
Nothing, dude. It only needed like $10,000 worth of work for $2,500, paid off. It had a lien on it, but they never sold it. The guy just quit paying his property tax. So the foreclosure, they never sold. So they just wrote it off on their books. So it never traded. Courthouse puts it up for $2,500, just the back taxes. I go and pay that, get it. Still has a lien. I check with the owner. Hey, can we do something about this, man? Can I get your permission to do something about this? I'm going to get it taken care of. So I work out something with him. I call the Wells Fargo. Hey, I need a lien release on this property, because there was still like $75,000 for the bad debt.
Oh, wow.
And dude, they literally sent an email like 3 days later. Here you go, paid off in full, free and clear.
They just wiped that out?
Just wiped it out, because it had been sitting there for about 7 years.
Okay.
So it was done. Like they weren't coming after it. And anyway, got a lien release, owned it free and clear for $2,500. And Yeah, this is like coming back to like don't don't jump into things trying to force like an outcome if you really aren't ready. So I bought it for 2,500. Needed $10,000 worth of work. Man, I'm a real estate investor now, man. I got real estate. I got real estate. I'm gonna get me a renter in there. And I just got someone in there that's willing to pay. Well, then COVID happens. They quit paying.
Oh,
And 6 months go by, no payment. Well, then I go and I'll go file an eviction notice. They show up in court, and the judge is like, "Yo, bro, like, it's COVID. You can't kick people out." I was like, "It's Georgia, man. What are you talking about? This is a red state." And he was like, "Okay, I hear you. If you really want to evict, you have to give them an extra 90 days, and then if they still don't want to leave, then you have to file another eviction." All right, so they don't have to pay during that 90 days either because it's COVID. So 90 days go, and
wow.
it's already been like 6, 7 months, and 90 days during that time, they claim they didn't, but literally there was a hacksaw here, like right next to the pipe, cut the main water supply line in the backyard. So backyard literally looked like a swamp. Like it was like a foot of water.
Mm-hmm.
They cut the kitchen supply line, flooded, and this had OSB like board. So once it gets wet, like it's ruined.
Oh man.
And so they cut the main supply, cut the kitchen, and dude, all the floor was ruined at that point. Got him out finally after the 90 days, and got in there, and it was like, yep, it's going to be about $40,000 to even get this fixed, minimum. And I didn't have the cash. I've been dumping everything back into my business, and I think that's on the investing side. That showed me never buy an investment if it has to make you money right then. If you can't afford to lose the money, don't do the investment.
That's good.
And so now I've decided, like, next time I do an investment, it's going to be something that it doesn't matter what market happens. It doesn't matter how many people don't pay. That thing is invincible. So we're actually looking at apartments now, and that's kind of the long-term play. So.
Oh, that makes sense. I got multiple people paying rent, Man, that story though, like during COVID, people not having to pay rent, dude, like the states just kind of stuck it to the, landlords in some way.
Dude, you couldn't do anything even, and that was like a month to month thing. Like you only have to give people 30 days here in Georgia, 30 days notice. And dude, they're like, nah, bro, another 3 or 4 months, and then we'll think about it.
Gosh. And then those people cutting pipes, man. Like, what is wrong with people?
Yeah, I mean, I could have sued or did something like that, but what am I going to get? What?
Yeah. Oh, I like how you said the judge was like, "Yo, bro, you can't, you can't kick him out." Oh my goodness. So that's interesting. Yeah, real estate, like you gotta know what you're doing wherever you invest too, though. Like you need to like educate yourself, and that's kind of part of the finance side of, when I was telling you faith, family, finances, and fitness.
Yeah.
I think it is important that you need to invest, right? You don't just take a paycheck and do nothing with your money, right? Or hopefully the goal isn't that you just make just enough to pay your needs, right? Like I think, biblically, I think God even said like he wants you to work so you have abundance so you can help others, right? It's not just
Boom.
about taking care of your needs.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's it right there.
Yeah. And so with that, like, we need to educate ourselves more. Like, and I love that you're like trying to, okay, I tried investing here, and it's like, now as I'm educating myself more, like now I'm seeing this is the safer, better spot, like diverting to apartments or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, no, that's good, man. I just think that's a piece of every man's education, right? Like,
yeah,
if you only thought about like, my next paycheck, like, you're missing out on, just a growth where your hands aren't working. That's investing. It's like, no, I put my money over here. I'm not actually shoveling and doing things it's just growing now, right?
yeah, 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 man, dude. That's like, I, that's the end goal, and it should be for everybody, is to become an investor.
Yeah.
Like, not a business owner. Business can be wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
Like AI coming out. Some of these businesses getting wiped out, bro, in the next couple of years.
That's a good point. But
Economy crash, like, so. And I think that's another lie that we're sold as entrepreneur. Man, getting an entrepreneur, you're gonna be rich. Nah, man, investors get rich. Unless you want to be on the hamster wheel forever,
interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I think the one skill the entrepreneur does have an advantage, and this kind of goes with real estate. And let me say this real quick. So, how everybody, like, or let's say a lot of people will just rent their first house. Like you kind of said, all these
Yeah,
people getting these 2% loans will probably end up doing. Well, okay. So everyone's just the first house they buy, they'll go buy another one and they'll rent this one. A lot
house
of people
hacking.
do
Yeah,
it. Yeah. And it's like, but there's also people in this game where they're renting the same houses and they're really good at it. And then you start hearing horror stories, kind of like what yours too,
yeah,
um, is, you got people over here making just multi millions in real estate. And then you have all the horror stories of how some people, right, ran their business, their rentals. And the people that do it successfully have the education behind it, right? And they have systems behind it. They have
yeah,
gone through, a lot of them now have gone through like the 2012, crash and all that stuff. So anyways, the education is like a spectrum of low education, but they still invest. High education, and those guys are the ones that are making the big bucks
yeah,
and stick with it.
yeah, dude. That was my biggest mistake. I bought that property whenever I was like 20 years old. Bro,
Wow.
I didn't know what I
Which is
was doing.
actually impressive, to be honest.
I didn't know what I was doing though, man. I
Yeah.
heard tax deed property. Oh, I'm gonna become a real estate investor. That's the cheapest way to get deals. Hell yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
buy it. And then not putting, you don't have enough money put back if something crazy happens. Like, no, I
Which
wasn't
it did.
educated enough. You
Yeah.
know?
No, and then I guess what I was going to say earlier was like, well, the entrepreneur too, like there's a spectrum of entrepreneur, right?
Mm,
Everyone who's tried it, a side hustle, and that doesn't mean they're the most like knowledgeable but you want to go and you want to look at the people over on the other side that are like, how do you have multiple $1 million businesses? Because that's probably the guy you want to learn from, not like, Uncle Sam that I shouldn't say Sam, that sounds like the government, but Uncle Ed that just you got a side hustle, you got burned and this and that. Like
yeah,
he doesn't have all that skill set, like the systems and process as these guys that know how to make money even in the tough time. And the entrepreneur, to me, their skill set is they're actually creative people that they're just like, oh, the market's doing this, well then I'm going to pivot, I'm going to do this. Compared to people without that creativity, they're just like, what do we do? Oh man, there's always something to do, you
yeah,
just got to get creative about it. So
dude, that's a that's a amazing observation, dude. It's the same thing. It's the same entrepreneurship, investing. You got to
yeah.
you got to develop the skills and the education.
And I love it that we were saying the word skills and education, because Myron Golden pointed this out to me, but skill is the same word in the Bible as wisdom. Like wisdom is kind
Mm,
of sounds churchy and, just it's hard to really define what that is, like, because I just don't use that word a lot in my vernacular day to day. But if you say skill, I totally get that, because I had soccer skills. I have this skill. I was a
yeah.
firefighter. I had skill there. And, like, I understand the word skill, and that's literally what it is. And I've played against, like, say, let's use soccer. I've played against very highly skilled people and not so skilled people. And it's like, I fall in between here. And that's the thing that sets apart the game that you're playing, right? Is how much
Yeah.
skill do you have? How far can you go? Well,
Yep.
the thing that pushed my skill the most was my coaches, not me, right?
Mm,
It's like I had some internal drive, but it was literally the people that made me practice, right? They ran the practice, they ran
right.
the soccer camp, they ran this. Like, I had some success in college, like, I guess my sophomore year. Made the all-star team, and we had a
Okay.
championship. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, dude. So I played some sports, but I have to give credit to the coaches that made us practice so hard and pushed me like beyond what I wanted to really do.
Right.
Um, and I even had a friend, I would say mentor, Kyle Vierick. That dude literally, like, I didn't even want to go play that year. He came to my house and said, I don't know what he would have done, but he's like, no, you're coming. I'm picking you up. Get your cleats. We're going to soccer camp. And I'm like, oh, yes, sir. Okay.
I love that. That's
Best
awesome.
best year of my life. I'm telling you, it was crazy. It was fun. And then, we had 4 coaches that just took that team like just beyond. It was awesome, to a championship. So I like that model, and I'm, over the last probably 3 or 4 years, kind of pivoted that to life, right? Like, I went through a hard time in my marriage. I feel like trying to do startups at the same time, and side hustles and all these things,
Yeah.
and then struggle with my kids. And I was like, dude, I'm trying to do all this as this low skilled guy entrepreneur, instead of putting all this money into the startup and these things. What if I just paid this guy who's like running millions of dollar businesses and
Right.
just learn from him? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
Figure out how is he doing it? What
am
at
I
least what does he have to say? You
Yeah, can
know.
I skip some of the like hard knocks of entrepreneurship that everyone seems to have? And anyways, that's kind of my new perspective. So I love that you're coming out with coaching. You got, you know what I mean? You're helping people develop brands, because you're helping entrepreneurs. They all need help to go from this skill here to the low skill to the high skill. And um,
Yeah, dude.
anyways, I think you're walking in
Skills
that,
pay the
dude.
bills.
Your skills pay the bill. So, I mean, you brought up Brad Lee. So, like, what is your current education flow? Like, where are you getting information or mentorship, or um, how does that look for Cameron?
Bro, I'm getting it everywhere, man.
Yeah.
uh, and dude, that's whenever you were mentioning the coaches, I played a little bit of college ball
Okay.
myself for like 6 months. I started, it was awesome, but I had a baby back in Georgia and I was in North Dakota, so I said peace. Um,
Gotcha.
but coaches, I think have the ability to, even if we can't see past like our certain level of potential, like I really don't want all that, like, but they've already been there, and so they know, like, okay, but dude, it's possible, man. Like, I
Yeah.
see it in you. Like, you gotta keep going. Like, it's there, and that's what I love about coaches. But dude, where my information comes from. So whenever I first got started, it was completely different. I just found whoever was on YouTube, and I think that's a great place for people to start. Is
Yeah.
whatever information you can get it's better than no information. Um, but I would encourage people, just look at someone's life. Do they live a life that you want to model? Like, is their lifestyle the same that you want? Because whenever I first started in the entrepreneur, like self-development stuff, I followed this guy. He was talking about, not really committing to any woman, but he had a nice car and made a lot of money. So I was like, and I was younger. I was like, yo, that's cool, but that kind of caused some issues in my development because I'm learning from someone that is modeling their life in a way that isn't congruent to my life, And so now, I model my life out for people that want to impact, inspire, educate, and do they have a family? That's a big one. Like even people in business, like if someone doesn't have a family, I don't know if I can trust you, man, because you don't got no real skin in the game, These dudes that are like 50 with no kids, I'm like, can I really trust you, dude? Like it's been this long and you don't got you haven't found nobody yet. I mean, but the people that I learned from the most. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I was like, I think of like the person I was before I had a kid and the person I had after having even just one kid, and we have 5 kids. I'm like, dude, that's, kids just absolutely force you to serve another little human being. Like I just didn't realize how much I served myself until I had this baby. And it's like, man, we got to do everything for you. Like it's just constant serving. And so I hear what you're saying. Like people that had kids have like, they've created this little person and they learn how to serve other people. Like that's a huge attribute that parents typically have. Not everyone does that well, but anyways.
Yeah, that and dude, even if like people, if you can't commit into a relationship, can I really trust you to commit to
interesting
like it's something else? If you can't even bend and like come together with a person and commit to them, like, bro, dude, I could go on and on about that. But most of my information now comes from, GC, Bradley. Those are like the 2 biggest ones. I do watch, like Alex Hormozy a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
People that are building real businesses.
Yeah.
That aren't just, and this goes back to don't die an old salesman. Like this in the beginning, I learned from people that were stuck in the business. That's all they did. But now I'm trying to learn from people that are able to create businesses and then get themselves out of the operation, out of being an operator very quickly and on to the next thing, becoming the investor.
That's good.
Like that's the model. That's the ticket, man.
Dude, that's really good. I'm kind of coming about this from like a different angle, like, cause I want to be the investor too, except we're more investing in businesses, right? Like directly to businesses, and they may or may not have real estate with them. So there's and then real estate will be an additional thing, but like more like the secondary and tertiary.
You getting the cash flow. You getting the cash flow from the business.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the route we went because of people that we saw that was like, dude, these businesses are what cash flows.
Yeah.
Like, and businesses have been around. There's the backbone of the US is the economy is small businesses, that.
Yeah, dude. Dude, I've looked at that too. That's something I've really looked at. And I think it's not talked about enough. I think it's I think it's a huge opportunity.
Big. Yeah. No, I think I feel like the US is, I mean, there's certain silos people say where you could put your money, and it's like there's kind of like real estate, business, maybe insurance, and there's just not maybe a few smaller like things, but there's the kind of the backbone of where a ton of wealth was made, in our nation. So no, I love that you're growing, you're pushing out the education. Where can people find you, Kamron? If you're talking about you're able to help businesses scale, you're helping business owners, right? Even get out of the operator position, which I think that's really a neat topic. Can you dig into that a little bit more, like that process? Because is that where they stop, like swinging a hammer in the business? And
So, no, I mean, it happens in stages,
sure.
but I think the biggest thing is helping people learn how to increase their top line.
Mm.
Dude, I'm all about statistics today. I got all these statistics. I'm about to hit you
There
with
you go.
another one.
There you go.
All right, dude. Okay, so the average cost of living in America is like $85,000.
Okay.
That's just to live, to be able to pay for food, basic living, basic car, 85,000. But only 18% of Americans make over 100,000. So after they pay taxes, they have zero money for like 82% of America.
They're just
So
breaking
so
even.
it's not even like a saving. A lot of people, a lot of business owners especially, bro, my CPA told me to fire this guy. We need to fire all. No, bro, you need to like increase your margins. Like you need to get more leads. How do you get more leads? Well, you become more known. I only rely on referrals. No, bro, you know that your business couldn't actually handle the extra business because it's not set up. It's on sand. You built a house on sand, and it's going to crumble as soon as you take on extra business. So one of the things we focus on is not just increasing and scaling with more leads, but also increasing the average revenue per deal to help you. Now you don't have to work as much, because that's why people got into business anyway. It was for freedom.
Yeah.
And then we're discounting everything, and now you're working yourself to death, and you can't even afford to pay your people because you got a bunch of work but no real profit in the business. So that's like one of the biggest things that we help people do. And in real estate, we do it by creating like different packages for people, different commission packages. Everybody's scared to give the price of their package. Hey, how much commission do you charge? Bro, man, we can talk about that in person. Like, no, I charge 5, 6, 7, 8. You get a different thing at each point. Let me hear more about your situation, see which one would be a best fit for you. Like
That's good.
Just tailor it to them.
Sure.
That's kind of how we help them do it. So,
well, that's awesome. Yeah, I think there is a lack of understanding margins and numbers, like with business. Like you kind of like goes back to the education. Like you kind of need like not a CPA's education, but you need to have financial literacy, right?
yeah.
To know, well, what's top line? Well, then what's bottom line? What's our fixed cost? What's our even cost to acquire just one customer, right? Like once you get all these
your
numbers,
average? How much are they even worth?
there you go, lifetime value of a customer. Because once you have these numbers, it's just math. Like, and I like that you brought up that even if we brought you more leads, growing your business would break your business because you can't handle it. You're just not in a healthy place.
Yeah.
You don't got the team. It's about team. It's about people.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
I
I want to
that.
touch on this. This goes back to my number about 85,000. Everybody's talking about, oh, I can't. I would love to grow, but I can't find any help.
Yeah, I'm hearing
87% of businesses fail because their people that work for them are making less than $85,000. They can't even live because they hired on too many people, hired on too many people. So now the people in the business that are supposed to be helping you scale, duplicating yourself, they don't even want to stay or work hard or show up. Bro, you're working them to death and they ain't making no money.
Yeah. So you're saying pay them more.
Pay
Find
them
a way.
more.
Yeah.
Everybody on my team makes minimum 150,000. It really needs to be at 250 or higher.
Dang, dude. As soon as we put this out, dude, you're about to get some people applying to be on your team.
Come on. But dude, it's still not enough after taxes. Like 150 just covers, they're making a little bit, but
You're right.
That's why businesses break. That's why they fail. Can't scale with people because there's not enough money for everybody to make it.
Yeah, so you have to know your numbers. You need to keep your margins good, right? Yep. And to support that. So, you find it to be synergistic, like, because you're going to have either volume or high prices to have enough margin to pay your employees that. So
you got to figure out a way to do both, man.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Do both.
That's good. And I did ask, where do people find you, Kamron? We need to get that out there.
You can find me on Instagram at Kamron Engler. They can also go to my website, theengler.com. You can send me an email, info@KamronEngler.com. But Instagram is the best way.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's great. No, I appreciate you coming on, Kamron. It's exciting to, that you're kind of in the beginnings of it, but you're also branching out. I like seeing that you're like, man, the real estate agent allowed me to go and do this. And now it's allowing me to do this, and I'm learning and I'm pivoting, and sounds like you got a really good team that you pay really well.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do, man. We're trying to, dude, I want to look at where my team lives, and I want it to be like the nicest neighborhood. Like I want to look at the biggest houses and be like, yeah, my team lives over there. all those Ferraris. Yeah, that's my team right there.
Interesting. Do you find it like just a different mentality? I don't know if all your clients think that way, but they're like, sometimes maybe the owner wants that house and that living, right? But they never thought about it for their team.
Yeah, man. I feel like a good team leader, a good leader should want, like, you want your people to have the best things. My thing is like, okay, what am I going to have? A bunch of slaves, and while I'm in the castle, and y'all keep working down there. Like, what's the point at that point? Because I've seen what that does to people. That's why my parents struggled. Boom. There's the business owner, the boss isn't, paycheck to paycheck, so that they can, boom. Then you got people trying to escape reality because, like, there's no opportunity. They know it's a dead end street, so they're like, screw it. Life's too hard.
Yeah, and that's a big cost when you have employee turnover too. Like, it could be detrimental, losing people. So, no, I like that. We'll have to just have you back.
We're doing a second episode now.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna have to have you back on, dude, and just dig into some more of these topics here. So, no, I appreciate you coming on, Kamron. This is good, and it's good to see, a young guy just making his way. That's what I was going to say earlier. It's just like, dude, it's going to be fun to watch you, bro. Like, just doing things and making things happen. I like your attitude, your vision, and just your perspective too. It's not just about you. It sounds like you definitely want to help other people. So,
okay, I appreciate you for having me on, man. This has been, I think, my funnest podcast I've had.
Dude, that's awesome. Dude, sweet. So that's awesome. So with that, everyone, make these adjustments, make small steps today, right? In your faith, family, finances, and fitness. Get the skills, right? So you're not a low skilled entrepreneur or low skilled even employee or whatever you are, investor. Learn and get the skills from people that have gone before you. Coaches will push you and take you beyond what you even think is possible. So do the type of things that in a year from now, you're going to thank yourself that, hey, I did this for my family. I did this for my faith. I did this for my educational, my finance education and my fitness, So with that being said, get out there and make those changes, and we'll catch you on the next one.